Okay, so I'm recording now. I got Quincy Johnson driving his truck. He's down south in bluegrass country in Kentucky, and he and I are debating the will the United States crack up. I say yes. I don't see any way around it with all the different. You can't tell me that people in San Francisco with their blue hair and sanctuary cities are supposed to be living in concert under the same set of rules and ideas as people down where you are, like in bluegrass country. It just doesn't seem to make sense to me. I don't see how anything else other than a breakup, because people are too different, too polarized. I don't see any difference. I don't see any way around those differences. And I see late 2020s, early 2030s a breakup. Prove me wrong. Where's my mistake?
You're talking about breaking up the United States on a national level. Number
Yes.
one, that takes congressional approval, which is never going to happen because if you allow states to succeed from the United States, there you go, buddy. That means you're going to have, that means that the federal government is going to have less states for them to control and regulate. And I just don't think that those a-holes in D.C. are willing to give up any amount of power, any at all. I think even the loonies in California would be in favor of staying in Congress because it means giving up power. Okay, first of all, you know how much of a logistical shit show it would be to break up this country. You know what I mean? It would be a nightmare. Okay, first you got to figure out who is going to break up the country. That's going to be an argument right then and there. Then you're going to have to figure out, well, who goes where? Because even in even in even in states, you could have a difference of opinion. I'll give you a pretty great example. Texas. Austin is about as liberal as it gets. Same goes, you could kind of say for some parts of Houston. But once you get out of those areas, it's as red as it damn gets. You know what I'm saying? So
Mm-hmm.
how are you going to divide that? You know, because Austin literally sits. It's the white power sign. Oh no! Austin sits right. Austin sits right in the middle of Texas. So if they were to secede, they're cut off from the rest of their liberal people. You know, because the closest liberal spot you're gonna have from Austin is shit. I don't know in the South, to be honest with you. Maybe California. That's at least a freaking 2 day trip. I don't. Yes, I just don't see it happening because there would be too many cogs and wheels involved for that thing to ever happen, bro. I just don't see it. I
But
just don't, bro.
But what about I think the part you said at the beginning, I think maybe is not might not be part of the equation. You had said the federal government won't allow it, but what if people just don't bother to ask and the authority that they assume people have is gone? Let's take, oh, I don't know. I mean, let me talk about areas I know. The western edges of the state of Virginia, West Virginia, that whole area, they could just say, you know what, state and federal government, depending, let's just stick with federal. They'd be like, all right, federal government, we're not gonna. You can make whatever rules you want. You can make whatever laws you want, and you know it's going to be something like the gun issue is going to happen first, and they're going to say, well, we'll do gold and silver as payment. If you're going to cut off the Federal Reserve notes, first of all, good luck. Second of all, then we'll use precious metals or we'll use something else. We are not going to pay attention and we're not going to think that we are even going to ask for your federal government approval. You could see even liberal states were talking about it. California, because they hate your boy Trump, they were talking about saying, well, you know what? We don't want to be under the federal government umbrella because literally Hitler is in charge. And Cal exit actually came up as a real topic. So
I heard about that.
yeah, so maybe the idea where, because I know the federal government isn't going to allow it. They're not going to say, oh, we don't give you permission. People are just going to do it, and then it's going to be
And
that it's going to go that way, I think.
okay, okay. Well, here's my rebuttal. The first area that tries it, be it the western edge of Virginia, the state of Jefferson, and Northern California, the feds would send in the army real goddamn quick and overwhelmingly fuck shit up to the point to where no other region would dare try it. Because again, when it comes to the feds, it's all about power. And whatever they got to do to keep that power, they're going to do it. If that means pulling off another, Kent State, they'll do that. They don't care, you know. If that means, like you said, sending in the freaking National Guard and just overthrowing everything, they'll do that too. The federal government is going to do whatever they have to do to stay in power. So, which includes doing some diabolical stuff. You know what I'm saying? So I would not put it past them to even bomb their own fellow man if it meant keeping them within the U.S. I think that is the level of their like what the hellness, to keep us as one single country. Also, think of it this way: if the United States were to break up and this part is U.S. and this part isn't and this part isn't, what's to stop other countries from coming in and trying to take that land? Like, let's say Texas was to succeed. Like, we don't want to do what you say, U.S. Here comes Mexico. Knock, knock, bitch, we back. You know what I'm saying? Because Mexico used to own Texas. If they succeed, what's to stop the Mexican army from crossing that border wall, which will no longer be protected by customs and border protection? You might have a few militias out there, but I don't think they would stand up against the Mexican army and the big drug cartels who would come in and say, hey, look, this is our land again now, I mean, I get the arguments, that we could break up. I'm just not buying it. I just don't see it. I think some people have seen Man in the High Castle a little bit too much, and I'm thinking that could happen. Just like, no, no, no. That's Hollywood. In real life, the feds will come in and shut all that shit down with the quickness.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. It's a little bit it's a little bit different again, and I would counteract what you say to some degree, because remember the Bundy Ranch, they actually won that battle. The Bureau of Land Management, because there were cell phone cameras and
Mm-hmm.
constant web streaming and armed Americans of all colors, they went in there and they stood off, and the feds backed down. And then after that, here's the part of the story that nobody knows is a Barack Obama appointed judge, right? Barack Obama, remember, our second black president behind Bill Clinton. They had a woman judge appointed by Obama looked over the case and slapped down the feds. They slapped down, I believe it was the FBI, but it was definitely Bureau of Land Management for ridiculously inappropriate, unconstitutional, terrible, terrible behavior. And that's the part that, of course, never made the press. So you had a couple of things at play there. And I agree with you. Federal government is not going to go out like that, right? They are not going to go gently into that good night.
Hell no.
But things are different enough with everybody watching, and the first federal bureaucrat to green light and say, okay, let's go in there and take out American citizens, you're assuming that the National Guard will go for it. They better hope that none of those National Guard military types are from that area, right? If my brother's family, National Guard in Virginia, okay, go into Virginia and mow down American citizens, they're not going to do it. So it's going to be, it's going to be
No. Sorry,
intense, man.
I was giving a thumbs up because I had just got the green light to pass his way change, and I'm just like, yeah.
Oh, okay, okay. Yeah. So I mean, that's the thing. Like you got you already have the beginning of the 10th Amendment and people saying they're nullifying laws. Missouri nullified all federal gun laws a long time ago. A couple of states nullified Common Core. I don't know. It just seems to be, let's say, Trump's going to be out in 2024. The next person to come in, probably somebody, probably blue-haired progressive type. Um, Trump gets another term, you're going to see the far left progressive social justice warriors. They're going to run for the hills, probably, at least in some way. And then, when Trump is done in 2024, if you get one of these loony bins up on the stage that we see now, it's going to go the other way. I just see too many swings and too much press.
Dude, it's been like that since the beginning of the presidency. It's been a swing. Like honestly, it's been a while since there's been a three presidents in a row from the same party. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Matter of fact, I want to say it was what was it? Yeah. Well, yeah, it was Bill Clinton, and then no.
I can't think of a time. I'm trying to think of
Hey,
three in a
hold on,
row.
hold on. Oh, wait. Ford was a
Republican.
okay. Yes, it was Ford, then Reagan, then Bush.
No,
That was
because
the
you had
last.
Carter. No, you had Carter in there. You had Ford, then Carter, then
Oh,
Reagan.
okay. See, I was thinking Ford came after Carter. He
No,
came. Okay,
that's the
okay.
thing. The swings are getting really serious, and that's the thing where you have people that are just eventually they're not going to wait or ask for permission to leave. And the first big group, I agree with you, man. There's going to be some backlash, but
Oh, hell yeah,
everyone.
hella backlash.
Yeah, but look at what we're doing now. I'm sitting here in the Bronx and you're in Kentucky in your truck and we're chatting and people are going to be like, we're not having it. It could be, maybe it'll be Vermont. Maybe it'll
Oh,
be Northern New Hampshire. And
back
they'll
to this
say,
in the play.
we're not doing it.
Back to this in the play. Whatever, whatever region decides to say fuck off to the federal government, you gotta, just going off for numbers, there's gotta be at least a small number that's gonna be like, well, I don't want to leave the U.S. What then? You know what I'm saying? Like, are you gonna force them to go along? Are you gonna kick them out of that area and say that you can't go along? Now you have internal struggle and whatnot because I can guarantee you, um, in the areas where there's like a big population of black folk, you know, we're gonna have something to say on the matter. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like you gotta factor in race, economic status. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just too many factors for for it to work. I think, man, it's just so many factors because I know if it was to happen, 95% of black people are gonna say, look, we want our own area by ourselves, but we don't want to be nowhere near you white folks. You know what I'm saying? So it's
Right.
gonna be like some white folks saying, well, no, man, we can all come along and get along, and that's another issue. Then you're gonna have liberals and Republicans fighting over which area, and then you're gonna have Asians and Latinos fighting. Just I don't know. It in theory I can see it work, but in practice, man, I don't know. Like quite honestly, if the boogaloo was to happen, no matter, you know what? Let's just say I would move to some area. I ain't gonna give out where it is. I don't want motherfuckers to start looking at houses in that area. But let's just say me and my girl already got an area picked out. It's not too populated. It's still close to her family. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, that's where we would go to if the shit ever hit the fan. We've already lit that property up there. You know, we actually found a good spot, like 10 acres. It's got water access and everything. So I mean, I don't know, man. It just seems like way too many moving parts. That's the phrase I was looking for.
Right. Right. Well, that's
It seems
and
like way too many moving parts for that to happen. Whoa, hello, Shirley. That was first. Coming down the highway, popping a wheelie. Go
oh,
ahead, brother. I ain't mad
ooh,
at you did.
ooh, man, that's some dangerous action right there.
That's
People are
some
crazy.
ballsy action right there. That
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
You know what?
Damn.
You're right. People are crazy, especially in the wintertime, which, let me say this. It's about to be wintertime, folks. Give truck drivers some fucking space. Please. Give us some space. All right? Don't freaking tailgate behind us. Don't brake check us. We will run you the fuck over because it's snow and ice. We can't stop quickly.
Right.
Work with us, people. Work with us. Please work with us.
Yeah, I know. There
Yeah.
should. There, I agree. I agree. You the but going back to what you said, I think you effectively said stuff that would go on, and you all these people going against all these different ways. You know, to think that a federal force will keep people together and say, "Oh, you guys are all battling. You guys are all at each other's throats." I just don't see where they're going to be able to keep any kind of unanimity, or that's not the word I'm looking for, any kind of unity, because it's just too crazy. It's just too divided.
Well, think of it this way: if we break up, now you got to come with because I don't think folks should break up and just have and some type of currency. You got to come up with something resembling a constitution. You got to set up lines lines of dialogue with everybody that you were messing with before the U.S. broke up. You know, it's like, yeah, man, all that takes time and money. You know what I mean? And it's like if the U.S. wants to break up right off the bat, federal currency, federal reserve notes, they don't work anymore. So you pretty much just threw us back into the freaking Stone Age because we ain't got no money now. So
Yeah,
how are you gonna pay for your baby's diapers or some food or something if the money that was good yesterday is worth nothing today? What then?
I think it's going to be more gradual. I don't think it's going to be like, okay, everybody, this section of Massachusetts and Vermont and New Hampshire, we are all saying see you later. I don't think it's going to be something like that. Much more like a deli slice. Like they're going to nullify certain, like the Missouri nullifying federal gun laws, or certain areas saying, you know what, we're not taking more quote unquote refugees or migrants, right? It's going to be certain areas saying, you know, I don't think so. Even, and look at the Black community that you talk about. Like I have students that they get federal forms to have some of these college readiness programs, and they don't even want to put down their social security number, which I can understand and I actually respect. The problem, I mean, they're a little late. I let them know they're a little late to the party because they've got their cell phones, but they've got the distrust of the federal government already baked into the cake. And if it's like, all right, well, we're not gonna be under federal umbrella because we hate it. It's going to be little things here and there. I don't think it's going to be one big thing where a group of people get together and say, okay, here's the money we're going to use. Here's the Constitution we've written. It's going to be a couple of things here and there. And the first people to do it successfully, other people are going to imitate it and be like, okay, we're not going to comply to federal mandate on various issues. And then the number of those issues will increase, and you'll have pockets. I don't know about necessarily each 50 states, but you'll have pockets, of like Western Massachusetts and New Hampshire are pretty close. A lot of areas of upstate New York, you could blend in with Vermont. You know what I mean? Like I don't think it's going to be any kind of sudden big thing or like necessarily state borders, but I just don't see, gun holding conservatives playing any kind of game with purple haired, screaming socialist, social justice warriors. I can't square that circle.
Hey man, side note, why are your students afraid to put their social down on a college prep thing, man? What's going on with that?
They have a healthy distrust of government. I mean, I'm in a community that's been stomped on by government force since the mid to late 1960s. So, when it's like, okay, here's a form to get free college assistance, either in application process or fee waivers or any of this kind of stuff, or college trips. You can go on it for free, but we need your social security number. And some of the students, that makes them uncomfortable. That's just human nature.
How old are your students?
The ones I'm talking about now are high school age, between 15 and 18.
Okay, well listen, if they should happen to see this, hello students, listen, you're 15 to 18 years old. Trust me, with all due respect, the government already knows the social security number. I'm not saying you should bow down to this, full on trust them, but it's like don't let your distrust block your blessings. If there's a way for you to get some college assistance, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, man, you might have to swallow that bitter pill and go ahead and put down your social and whatnot because guess what? They already got it because they're the ones who gave it to you in the first place. They're the ones who gave it to you in the first place, so they already got it, bro. So it's
Yeah.
not like you're hiding your social. I get why you are distrustful. I totally get that. I totally get it. But my rebuttal is they already got it, bro.
Yeah, that's what I said. I said, look, you guys have cell phones on you. All your stuff gets recorded and saved, stored in the Bluffdale, Utah site. I think I think the NSA is building a new storage facility in Texas. So that's what I told them. I'm like, everything you do, all that porno you watch, all those goofy sites you go to, right? I'm like, it's all stored. Every text message, everything on Snapchat. So that's what I kind of told them. But what I did like was that, especially my libertarian leanings, I liked it that they were not down right away with, just handing personal information to daddy government, because everybody knows, anyone who's thinking anyway, knows that the chances of it being, of power being abused or information being abused is pretty high, especially nowadays. But that it's those ideas. It's just the idea of the various and just rapid difference in people in the country that, if I had to pick a date, I'd say 2032, things are going to be very, very different than they are now. I just think you're going to have pockets of philosophy instead of, oh, let's wave the flag and
Oh,
sing the Star Spangled Banner.
think of it this way. How are these going to use the services across the country if there is no more country? Think of that. I mean, I'm a truck driver, you know what I'm saying? I every you we gonna put up with some bullshit that you gotta check in with this region here. Now we like, bro, just it's just you know, I can see it happening is that however many regions the U.S. broke into, they were all isolated. The only way I can see it happen because if you're not isolationist, you're gonna have to come up with some way to do trade and commerce with all the other regions and whatnot. That means coming to the table and sitting down. All right, we'll allow this many trucks to come through. I don't want that. I want this many. Just it's just it's way too many moving parts for that to happen. You know.
Yeah, true, true. Although, yeah, to some degree, there is that now. I mean, you will drive from Kentucky, and then you'll be in California, and then you'll be in Kansas, and then you'll be in Texas. Those are all very
Yeah.
different places, and they
Like
don't.
I was in Florida yesterday. You know what I'm saying? Like I was
Mm.
in yes. I started in Georgia, and got down to Tampa and hung out there. Met one of the people off of Twitter. Then went down to Fort Myers, came back up in Georgia, and now here I am here. Like if Georgia and Florida are not in the same region, I'm gonna have to figure out, how can I get through here, A, without being hijacked, and B, do I have to pay a toll, a tribute? Like, what gives?
Right. Well, the tribute you pay, I think the Douglas C. Marola Freelance Teacher Foundation is always accepting tributes and is more than willing to take, some of that newfound dollarage you got off your hands. You know what I mean?
I'm gonna give you two Twinkies and a 1995 issue of Playboy with Janet Jackson in it. That's
Oh
all you
yeah,
get.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I think it was Latoya Jackson.
Latoya, that's one. That's even worse. God, that kid's in Hustler.
Oh,
Whatever.
right, right. Oh man, so good. Well, let's end it there. This is a good talk. We got. I see what you're saying. I hadn't thought about the commerce stuff. Um, Also, nationalism is a strong force. So I don't know. It just seems maybe because Twitter is such a toxic place and
Yes,
anti social media is so toxic. Regular people seem to be much more reasonable than the
yes,
nonsense in the
yes,
digital space. You know?
yes, indeed. Like I was talking with one of my peoples yesterday. I'm just like, look, man, for all the shit that I say on Twitter about politics and whatnot, I'm not voting in 2020. Are you nuts? Like, nah, I don't care who the president is. I still got responsibilities. I still have a family to take care of, which I'm going to do regardless who is in the White House or what they do or what Congress do. I still have responsibilities. And the same goes for state and local government as well. I live in Georgia, okay? But I'm not there enough. I'm not there long enough for their politics and their rules and regulations to affect me. Like honestly, I'm home maybe three to 5 days a month. The rest of the time,
Wow.
I'm on the road, bro. Yeah, I
Huh.
know. Yeah, it does take its toll, but
Yeah.
luckily, I've got a damn good woman. At
Mm-hmm.
some point, I'm going to go local. I just got to find a good paying local job,
Right.
you know. But it's like, yeah, I'm not in Georgia enough or Atlanta enough for whatever they do to affect me,
Mm-hmm.
And again, even if I was, I still gotta, take care of things.
Right.
No matter what bill gets on the law, I still gotta feed my kids, feed my
Mm-hmm.
girl, make sure the car is running, and everything else that comes with being in the family. I'm not gonna let a mayor, a city councilman, a governor, a senator, or a president stop that or interfere with that in any way whatsoever. Like, and like, oh, the outlaw guns, you're gonna be an outlaw. Cool. I don't give a damn. I'm not giving up my guns. Are you nuts? Are you nuts? First of all, with the way some of the police are picking off, some of my black people, I'd be dumb as fuck to go give up my gun. And especially with the resurgence of white nationalism, you know, give up what I have to defend myself. Hell no. So damn, no thank you. Actually, I had a discussion with one of my girl's friends who was a hardcore liberal. Oh my god, just liberal as it gets. And why do you need a gun? I was like, you know what? I need a gun to protect me from you and people like you. What do you mean? Like people like you who think that nobody needs a gun, people who think that only the police. You are not very, and I need to protect myself from you. The best way I see that is with a gun and ammunition. That's why I need a gun. And they responded, "Oh, you just want to be cute. What do you really need a gun?" I'm like, "But I'm not gonna rob you." Great, then you don't have to worry about my damn gun. Problem
Right.
solved. Problem solved. If you're not trying to harm me, you don't have to worry about my gun one damn bit. One,
Right.
you ain't never gonna see it. You know.
Hmm. Yeah, and the gun issue. I mean, we heard your boy Beto say he's going to come take your stuff, so you got to
Not
be
my
ready for
boy.
him.
It's not my boy. No, 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 no. I wouldn't even share half-eaten grilled cheese sandwich with that dude. No, hell
Yeah,
no, bro.
and
No, 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 no.
he's like, we're gonna take your stuff. We're gonna go. Like he just out and out said it. He wasn't even trying to front. He just said, we're gonna take
Well,
your AR-15. And now he got memed to
no, they're
death.
not.
Like the memes and the videos that came out after him were
Oh yeah, I've
hysterical.
seen them. It's like people are saying, "Oh, it's a mandatory buyback." No, it's not. First of all, buyback implies that the government sold me the guns in the first damn place. They
Hmm.
did. Last time I checked, Cabela's and Dick's are not owned by the government, so it ain't no damn buyback. Second of all, I have yet to hear any politician get in front of a microphone and say they want to do something about all the illegal guns. The ones owned by Crips, Bloods, Gangster Disciples, Hell's Angels, drug cartels. I haven't heard one Democrat on the left say they want to make it harder for them to have guns. And they
Hmm.
want to make it harder for me to legally own one.
Right.
You know damn well these gang members and these bikers and these drug cartels, damn well they did not get their guns legally.
Hmm.
So why not go after their asses? But
Right.
you want to go, after me, a hardworking man who just wants a gun to protect himself and his family and his home. Man,
Right.
don't get the fuck out of here with that bullshit. Like,
Yeah.
no, man. Nah, man. You,
Well, we'll end it with that, Quincy, because that's perfect, because it's one of the issues that issue, the gun issue. I mean, there's education and healthcare and other things and taxes, but first and foremost, I mean, in my opinion, I think the gun issue is it could be the one that makes things go my way, because if federal government says, "Sorry, Johnson, you're going to give up your stuff whether you like it or not," that's
and
tough.
I'll tell the federal government to suck my dick, and they
Yeah.
better have some fucking backup when they come to my fucking door.
Right.
Damn
Well,
sure.
and people like you will band together with people like you, and it may not mean necessarily the gun thing. It could be how you raise your children. It could be taxes. It could be your health
Yo,
care. Could be anything. But it's going to be that kind of thing where you say, you know what, screw it. I'm not worried about commerce. I'm not worried about Federal Reserve notes. I'm not going to let this happen. And neither are the 12,000 people I've gotten together with in my area. We're not going to allow that either. And then you have what I'm talking about.
hey, yo, man, like people get online and say, okay, you got your AR, and the federal government got tanks and airplanes. How do you think you're gonna win? And my response is always the same: ask Vietnam. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
U.S. has superior firepower, military, and with all due respect to any Vietnam vets, they 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 got their asses whooped
Yep.
by an inferior military. So don't sit there and tell me that it can't happen. This is damn near 40 years ago. If it happened then, it could damn sure happen now.
Right.
Damn sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Good
don't
point.
want it to happen. I don't
Right.
want to go up against the government. But if need be, listen, I will take all you motherfuckers on. I'm not caring. Let's go. Let's
an arm
go.
an armed black man in a truck. Is that what you're telling us?
Man, I'm not saying nothing. I'm just saying I'll be ready if the shit ever hits the fan.
Yeah.
I will be ready.
Oh man. So all right. Well, let me go. I got to head and I'm going to get something to eat. I'm here in the Bronx with
Oh,
QJ. Right. We're going to do our thing, and let's talk again soon. It's been a little bit of a long time since we chatted, and we'll have to talk about upcoming election stuff.
oh, no, 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 no,
Um, we
there.
We
Yeah,
got to
man.
we got to get into that, and we'll be chatting soon.
Yes, sir. Take care and be well, my brother.
All right, brother. Talk to you later, Quincy, and I'll talk to you then.
Peace.
All right, bye.